Less than a week until the ACC softball tournament, and tonight we've got number 9 Florida State, certainly one of the favorites to bring home the conference crown, taking on the Pitt Panthers, who look to solidify their spot in the bracket. And we take a look at the standings. Top 10 teams will make the conference tournament. Florida State all the way up at number 2, and the Panthers looking to hold off North Carolina and Boston College to keep that 10 spot. Welcome you inside the booth here at Varda Median Field. Jason Earl, and alongside me, Matt Iannazzo. Full and exciting slate of games this weekend in the ACC as teams finalize seeding.
Absolutely, Jason. It's great to be here with you today. This series is certainly huge for both Florida State and Pitt. Pitt on the cusp of the ACC tournament, that's for sure. Florida State vying for their 18th regular season title.
And for Florida State, not a team that could only win the ACC, but potentially a national championship contender as well, and in large part due to their pitching that has been elite all season long.
Yeah, Jason, this Florida State pitching staff is headlined by this three-headed monster. That is Catherine Sandercock, Kaylin Arnold, and Danielle Watson. They've led their team to an ERA of 1.62. That's going to give you a chance to win every single day.
10 shutouts in the last 23 games from this Florida State pitching staff. But for the Panthers, this is a team not long ago was 5-20 in the ACC, on the outside looking in for the tournament, but now as of late really turning it on and making that last season push.
As every team likes to do, ending the season at their best. This hot streak has brought Pitt into their ACC tournament contention here, and they've really received more consistency from the circle, but as you can see there, nearly doubling their runs per game have led to the streak.
Panthers are winners of 6 of the last 8, and a huge series here as they look to get into the ACC tourney, and Brittany Knight will start off in the circle in game 1.
Yeah, Brittany Knight, the senior from Ohio, has been there. She's done that. This is a great spot for her to continue her hot pitching of late. You're going to see from her today a little bit of pitching backwards, some change-ups in some hitters counts, some fastballs early, but what we're really looking for is this short leash. If she doesn't pitch so hot at the very beginning, I would expect maybe to see Abby Edwards sooner rather than later.
So she'll start off with ball 1 to Elizabeth Mason, who's leading off for the Seminoles. That one off the outside as we take a look at the starting lineup for the Seminoles. Elizabeth Mason, as I mentioned, leading off. And how about Sydney Sherrill? 61 doubles in her career at Florida State, the most in ACC history. She'll be up next.
Yeah, Sydney Sherrill's certainly one of the better hitters in the ACC, and she's going to look to keep her team in ACC championship contention today. Mason,
the leadoff spot, and Sherrill, as you mentioned, coming up next. Both experienced Seminole players as Mason swings for strike 2. Brittany Knight battling back from what was initially a 2-0 count.
Yeah, as we said, right, pitching a little bit backwards, getting behind, but you know what, when you have off-speed stuff the way that she does, not surprised she gets back into the count quickly.
And gets Mason for the strikeout to start the day, and Elizabeth Mason goes down looking. So Brittany Knight and the Panthers off to a good start as we take a look at the rest of the defense for Pittsburgh.
Third baseman, number 24, Sydney Sherrill.
Yeah, really need to focus on that up the middle, right, with Levesque, Batesole, and Barbie behind the plate. Those are going to be their anchors to make sure that anything that gets out there, they make the plays.
You see Hannah Bache in right field, not the usual starter for the Panthers, but E.C. Taylor out today after suffering an injury in the Panthers' final game of the series against Boston College. So Bache stepping in at right field for the Panthers.
Yeah, Jason, E.C. Taylor, that's going to be a big loss for the Panthers. There's no doubt about that. One of the better players, not only at Pitt, but in the ACC in general. She's stolen so many bags this year. She's a threat everywhere she goes. It's going to be interesting to see if Pitt can make up for that absence in different ways.
So brings up Sydney Sherrill after the leadoff strikeout of Elizabeth Mason. 2-0 pitch here, and that's good for strike 1.
Yeah, it looked like a little bit of a backdoor curve there. Again, behind in the count 2-0, comes right back and gets the strike. You know, as you're watching Brittany here sometimes today, you think, oh, maybe she's getting into a 2-0 count on purpose, because then she can get to her nasty off-speed stuff. I guarantee you that that's not the case, but she's really good when she's behind in the count. That is a slippery slope, but I can tell you she is really good.
Knight finds herself behind in the count now at 3-1. And here comes the pitch with one out. Off speed again, but Sherrill goes deep to center field. And Sydney Sherrill starts off the scoring for Florida State with a drive to deep center. And the Florida State Seminoles take the lead 1-0 to start.
Yeah, here early, right, as I said, that slippery slope of getting behind in the count, that 3-1 count. She misses with the pitch a little bit too much over the middle, and it looks like Sherrill made her pay with a beautiful swing.
First home run of the season for Sydney Sherrill, who has had a tremendous Florida State career consisting of many home runs, but none this season until just now, and a huge way to start off the series for Florida State.
Yeah, if you're Florida State, you're excited, right? You know, you're right there. You're right there winning the ACC regular season championship. But if you're Pitt, right, solo home runs aren't going to beat you. Right? You have to expect that you're going to score at least one run offensively. So, you know, that solo home run, you can't allow that to deflate you in any way, shape, or form.
So it brings up for the Seminoles, Kaylee Harding, freshman who has really impressed this season for Florida State. Leads the team in batting average, RBIs, hits, and triples coming into the weekend.
Yeah, talk about the athlete that Kaylee Harding is. She was actually recruited as a catcher, but starting today out in right field, showing that versatility for the Seminoles.
So pitch there outside, making it 3-0. And Panther catcher Walker Barbie going to have a conversation with Brittany Knight. And you see there Lonnie Alameda with a tremendous resume in her time as the Florida State head coach. 13th season there, and as you see, 7 straight NCAA Super Regional appearances. Won the national title back in 2018, and once again, a Florida State team that could very well bring home another national crown this season. She's a 5-time ACC Coach of the Year, and Matt, maybe the most impressive, 6 consecutive ACC tournament titles.
Yeah, that's not bad. I'll tell you, that's what you'll sign up for if you're an athletic director. No, all joking aside, Coach Alameda is one of the best college softball coaches in the country. There isn't a doubt about that. She gets the best out of her players. She gets the best out of her staff, and she has led this championship culture at Florida State softball to places where you know, you're going to be in it year in and year out just based on that culture. So can't say enough great things that she's done at Florida State.
And has yet to miss an NCAA tournament since joining Florida State as the head coach, one of just 9 schools to play in every NCAA tournament since the year 2000. Kaylee Harding here with a full count, 1 out, nobody on, top of the first. And as you said, Matt, Harding recruited as a catcher, and Alameda said, well, we knew she could swing it a little bit, but has really brought out the bat this year, again leading the team in batting average, but this time pops one up to second base. Lolo Sanchez makes the easy catch there.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see
for the Panthers, Jody Hermanic here, Matt, 4 NCAA tournament appearances in her time at Ohio in her 3rd season as the Panther head coach, trying to get back to the ACC tournament. But you were saying?
No, I was saying that, hey, you know, I'm curious if that at bat, coming back from a 3-0 count after the home run, propels Brittany Knight into a good rhythm and groove. But to your point about Coach Hermanic and what she's done with this Pitt program, it's been absolutely fantastic. You know, a mark of good coaching is when your back's against the wall, what happens with your team? Does your team fold? And 3 weeks ago, this Pitt team had every chance in the world to fold, right? They played North Carolina and Boston College, and if they had lost more than they won, they'd be square out of the ACC tournament conversation. But they've won 6 of their last 8, and they're back in it.
That's right, and we showed you the ACC standings before we started this one off, and those 2 teams you just mentioned, North Carolina and Boston College. When the Panthers went into that series against the Tar Heels, UNC was fairly firmly established in that top 10 to make the ACC tournament. But as you see there, Panthers winners of 6 of their last 8, including a 4-game sweep over North Carolina. and has propelled them into a solid position here to reach that ACC tournament. Once again, currently sitting in 10th, but to start the season 1-11 and found themselves in last in the ACC. But you see the turnaround there that has given them a shot to make that bracket.
Yeah, when you talk to Coach Romanek, she's nothing but positive, nothing but opportunistic with what can happen down the stretch here. She thinks if her team gets into the tournament, you never know what's going to happen. And they have every intention of doing so here. And I think it'll take maybe a win, maybe some help this weekend, but they're absolutely in contention to do that.
So a walk there for Cassidy Davis will keep the inning alive for Florida State.
Left fielder, number 7, Kirsten Landers.
And again, Matt, going back to North Carolina and Boston College, those are the two teams currently sitting right behind Pitt in the standings. And one thing Jody Hermanic said to us is game 1 in this series is so important because last weekend, or 2 weeks ago actually it was, Panthers had last weekend off, but took on Boston College, won the first 2 games in that series, but then dropped the second 2. And Jody Hermanic said, you know, if they win maybe even one of those, it could be huge in terms of their placement and getting that 10 seed, clinching a spot in the tournament. But because they lost those last 2 to Boston College, more work to do this weekend. They're going to need help from other places in the conference. So she wants to just get game 1, win this one, and potentially earn that spot in the tournament. So just 1 run to start in the first inning for Florida State. Thanks to the solo shot from Sydney Sherrill, good for her first dinger of the season. Welcome back to Varda Bedian Field as we get set for the bottom of the first. And Catherine Sandercock taking the circle for Florida State, the sophomore who has had a tremendous year for the Seminoles.
Yeah, she certainly has. Just really, really nasty stuff. She's going to be at her best when she's down in the zone. Really good drop ball, a lot of ground balls, keeping her team involved. And she's recently really been working on honing those corners, kind of nibbling from time to time. When you're really good in the zone, you can afford to take chances and be perfect. And as you see there with that win-loss record and that ERA, clearly it's worked out for her.
Yeah, Sandercock has had a tremendous season for Florida State and just a sophomore from Virginia, leading the team in ERA, just a 1.04 ERA on the season, which is also good for second in the conference. So a tall task ahead for the Panthers today, taking on one of the best pitchers in the ACC. And leading it off for the Panthers is Chandler Walter. Will be followed by Kayla Lane and Cammie Compson. And you see Sarah Siemens with 12 home runs on the season, having a breakout year for the Panthers, third in the conference with those 12 homers. Grounder to short, routine play. Throw over to Mason. Good for out number 1. And Devin Flaherty there at second base for the Seminoles. As we bring up Kayla Lane for the Panthers. Lane, the sophomore from Georgia, has a hit in 6 of her last 7 games. That time, grounded to short once again. So quickly to start the Panthers batting this afternoon. 2 outs made by Josie Muffley over at short.
As advertised, right? And for the first 2 hitters, we expected the drop ball. We expected ground balls, keeping her teammates involved. And boom, boom, ground balls to shortstop. And Panthers looking 2 outs, nobody on already here in the first.
And once again, Sandercock with just her 4th pitch of the inning, making quick work of the Panthers in the bottom of the first. 1-0 lead for the Noles. 1-0 lead for Florida State as we head to the top of the second. And look what the Seminoles have done in their last 6 ACC series. A 22-1 record, 4 sweeps. And how about the difference between the runs Florida State has scored compared to the opponents? 124-28, an absolutely dominant Seminole team. And now we get the breakdown of each of those series And again, just absolute dominance from this Florida State club, taking down everybody in their path here late in the season.
Yeah, we're not talking about, maybe some lower-end Division I teams into maybe some other divisions. We're talking about ACC softball. As you saw there, a couple of top 25 teams that they made quick work of. This program is absolutely dominating through the ACC, and, can't say enough about their head coach, as year in, year out, new girls in the lineup, still the same success.
And that's the sign of a successful program, is when it continues. When you lose personnel, you bring some more in, and that's exactly what Florida State has done. As it brings up Anna Shellnut here to start the second inning.
And it talks actually about expectations too. And when you go to Florida State to play softball, you're expected to rival for a national championship. You're expected to go to a super year in and year out. That is the standard. And that's what all other programs in the ACC are fighting to become. Fortunately for Florida State, that's what they are year in, year out. So they bring in the players that can do that. That's what they preach. And that's the success that they've clearly had.
Anna Shellnut at bat here was a part of that team in 2018 that won the ACC championship game. Shellnut this season with 5 homers on the year. Struggled in their series last weekend against NC State. Went 0 for 12 against the Wolfpack, but looking to bounce back this weekend against the Panthers. Of course, would be the perfect time to get the bat going right before the ACC tournament. Deep fly ball to left center, and Levesque is over to make the catch.
Yeah, big leadoff out, right? So if you're Brittany Knight, you give up the run in the first, your team comes back and scores 0. You kind of get shut down a little bit in very quick order, and you come out and get that leadoff out. That's absolutely huge to stop any sort of momentum that Florida State had been accumulating over that past inning. So a big out for her. I'd love for her to continue to get ahead of hitters. Although she is good behind in the count, I'd love to see those pitches ahead in the count to force soft contact like you saw right there.
And Matt, that's one of the things that head coach of the Panthers, Jody Hermanic, is keying in on with this Panther team, is securing those leadoff outs, keeping runners off the base paths early on in innings. And they get the leadoff out there, and brings up Devin Flaherty.
Yeah, their program goal defensively in the circle is to get 5 out of 7 leadoff outs in the game. Obviously 7 innings in the game, getting 5 of those leadoff outs. That's one of the determining factors that Coach Hermanic thinks that if they're able to achieve, they'll have more success than not.
So 2-1 now to Flaherty. And so far the Panthers are 2 for 2 in getting those leadoff outs here today. First inning, Elizabeth Mason led off. And she struck out looking. Of course, Sydney Sherrill followed that up with a solo shot to center. And now here in the second, 2-2 pitch coming for Devin Flaherty with 1 out. And low and in, got her swinging. Second strikeout of the day for Brittany Knight.
Yeah, very good. Looked like a backdoor curveball or drop ball there from Brittany Knight. Again, getting into a leverage count and throwing one of the pitches that she is so good with right over top for Flaherty, and 2 outs, nobody on for Pitt.
So that'll bring up Josie Muffley. And again, Matt, aside from that solo shot from Sydney Sherrill, Brittany Knight has been successful so far today. That's the only hit throughout these first 2 innings.
Yeah, and that's why I said after the home run, solo home runs really don't hurt you. It's the multi-run home runs, I'm sorry, that really get you. It's the walk and the ladies on base more often. That's what drives that pitch count up and causes maybe some of those bigger innings to happen later in the game. Solo home runs, that shouldn't be something that knocks you off your game at all.
Outside pitch there, fouled opposite field down the right field line. Makes it 1-2. 2 outs here in the top of the second. Brittany Knight looking to end the inning here against Josie Muffley. Pitches outside. Muffley makes contact. Back to Knight. Throw over to first. And that'll end the top of the second. Florida State still with a 1-0 lead. Well, ACC tournament starts on Wednesday, so let's take a look at what the Panthers need to do to secure their spot. They have to match what North Carolina does this weekend to clinch a spot in the tournament. So if the Tar Heels, who are taking on Louisville, end up winning one of those games against the Cardinals, Panthers will need to match that. Panthers in the 10 spot right now, in Boston College sitting just behind North Carolina. But as you see there, the Pitt Panthers have to match what North Carolina does this weekend in their series against Louisville. And of course, Matt, we can have some weather this weekend in Pittsburgh, maybe some game time changes, things like that. North Carolina scheduled for their doubleheader Sunday against Louisville, and Pitt scheduled for a doubleheader tomorrow, but should be an interesting weekend. Of course, a lot could change by the time we get to Sunday. And as you see there, current score in North Carolina, Louisville 5 and the Tar Heels 1. But the beauty of softball in this weekend is that North Carolina will have their chances to potentially make a run here and try and get that 10th spot from the Panthers.
Yeah, and we'll keep you updated on that score throughout the day, I'm sure throughout the weekend as well. A couple things on that wild card, certainly as you alluded to, is the weather, right? All of this is based on winning percentage in conference. And obviously, if you play less games, your winning percentage all of a sudden is a little different than maybe some other teams that maybe play a little bit more, a little bit less games. Secondly, if you're a Pitt Panther softball fan, if you're a Pitt Panther softball player, who would have thought that you'd be rooting for former coach Holly April coaching the Louisville Cardinals against the North Carolina Tar Heels this weekend?
Take a look at that grab real quick. Kat Sandercock with the quick reaction there off the liner back from Sarah Siemens, showing that she is not only one of the best pitchers in the conference, but maybe one of the best defensive pitchers as well.
There you go, athlete in the circle. I love it.
But Matt, that's right. Panthers certainly hoping for some help from the Louisville Cardinals this weekend. If North Carolina does end up getting swept, that certainly bodes well for Pitt. Because again, Panthers are currently in the ACC tournament if things ended today. But the Tar Heels, and again, Boston College, with their chances this weekend to potentially take that 10th spot.
And when we talked about this with Coach Hermannick, this is the type of leader she is. She said, well, we need to win. We don't need to worry about what they do. We don't need to match them or anything like that. We need to go out and take care of business for ourselves. We control our own destiny. And that's a great feeling as a coach, as a player, when you control your own destiny. And, Panthers absolutely have it in their control to go out and take care of business this weekend.
And now Levesque with a shot to right field. Over there to make the grab. No, it falls out of her glove is Harding. So Levesque is going to make her way all the way over to third. And Hunter Levesque will take third base after Harding bobbled it in right field. And that is a break that the Panthers will certainly take.
After a dreary day all day here in Pittsburgh, the sun comes up and it looks like gave some trouble. Levesque really moving it out of the box, able to get to third with less than 2 outs. The Panthers are in business, and it looked like she just took her eye off it out there in right.
And the sun, as you said, Matt, has come out here in Pittsburgh this evening. And Kaylee Harding will certainly want that one back. Puts Levesque on third. And brings Walker Barbie to the plate.
And we talked about it. Harding was recruited as a catcher, right? As it played shortstop last weekend, out there in right today. I don't think it was a mechanical issue. I think she's plenty athlete, plenty mechanically driven enough to play out there. Maybe just, took her mind into a different place, or the sun played a factor. Either way, a huge play.
Grounder over to third, and throw made easily to first. So just like that, despite the error in right field, there's 2 quick outs there for the Seminoles. And, well, how about that? I guess the Cards flew out from Walker Barbie there.
Number 11.
Oh yeah, and Sandercock picks up her teammate, right? Sandercock, you see there, I bet as soon as she made that pitch and got the out at third base, they both looked out to right field and said, hey, we got your back, right? Now there's a runner on third with 2 outs, and all she has to do is get out Lolo Sanchez.
Didn't expect Kat Sandercock would panic in that scenario there, despite a runner on third and just 1 out. One of the top pitchers in the country in Sandercock, and now trying to keep the Panthers scoreless here in the second.
And it looked like a drop, maybe even a changeup there, getting Sanchez out front. And Sandercock now 1 strike away from getting her team off the field here in the second.
Oh, 2 pitch coming. And Sanchez stays alive, fouls it back. Sandercock, a former member of the All-ACC freshman team back in 2019. Again, leading the team in ERA this season. Oh, 2 once again. Sanchez maybe with a little bit of a check swing there, but will stay alive as that one's high.
And she goes to the rise there. The rise ball has really been something that she's been working with this coaching staff, really a pitch that she's looking to develop. She always had it, right? But now she's turning it into that swing and miss type there, just a little bit high, but you see the check swing almost gets Sanchez.
And that time, once again, Sanchez able to foul it off and hang in there.
And it's scary for the rest of the ACC, right? You know, already a part of, Sandercock was already a part of the All-ACC freshman team. And this year taking another step forward in that maturation process in the circle of developing that rise. You know, she's only going to be more formidable as her years continue.
You see, it looked like it might have clipped the knee of catcher Anna Shellnut there. Right off the top of the padding there, might have caught her kneecap. But Shellnut out in the circle with her team. Looks like she might be able to walk it off and stay in there.
Yeah, no matter how much padding you have there, Jason, I'm sure it doesn't feel very good.
Oh, yeah. So Sandercock 1-2. Levesque still on third base here, bottom of the second. Lolo Sanchez would even the score with a base hit. Here's the pitch, and once again, Sanchez fouls it back. She's making her work for it.
Certainly, she's put good swings on and held off all of Sandercock's pitches here. She's really going to the well. I wouldn't be surprised she goes back to the rise here. She's gone down with a little bit of a change, a little bit of a drop. She's changed the eye level already once. Almost got Sanchez. I wouldn't be surprised if she goes back to it.
And that time she gets her Kat Sandercock with her first strikeout of the evening. And Florida State holds on to their 1-0 lead with the K. Well, you take a look there at E.C. Taylor, out tonight with an ankle injury suffered against Boston College in the Panthers' last series, and she had been swinging it just about as good as anybody in the conference, and as you see there, can do it on the base paths as well. Certainly a tough loss for the Panthers this weekend because E.C. Taylor has been fantastic for Pitt.
Yeah, E.C. Taylor absolutely saw there 27 steals, an offensive pressure juggernaut here in the ACC. But in these last 8 games where Pitt has really turned it on, she's hit north of 600. She has been absolutely the straw that stirs this Panthers drink, and it's a huge loss not having her in the lineup today.
Yeah, Taylor, 17 of 27 in her last 8 games for the Panthers. And as you see there, as you said, Matt, a batting average of over 600, has scored at least a run in 7 of the last 8. And 12 total runs in just 8 games for Taylor. So how about Sanchez with the scoop?
Very nice play, really good hand. Sanchez breaks early on the softly hit ball and says, "Hey, I don't need to throw it over. I'll flip it right on over here."
That's right.
I love it.
You think Sarah Seaman saw it coming?
Hey, I bet they have practiced that play a 1,000 times. That's something you don't do unless you're really confident. And you see, she's not even smiling. She expected to make that play.
That's right. So heads up play in the field by Sanchez as we head back to the top of the order for Elizabeth Mason. And Matt, you do have to credit Brittany Knight. This is a Florida State team that is top 10 in the country, and she has already made her way through the order with just 1 hit.
Yeah, she's pitched great. I mean, there isn't a doubt about that. A small blemish with the solo home run to center, but one time through the lineup, she's mixed her pitches well. She's done a really good change, good drop, good curve. She's kept these Florida State hitters off balance. And if she does this, she continues to keep Pitt in the game. They have every opportunity to win down the stretch.
And for the Panthers, of course, at the plate, all about catching a break when taking on one of the top pitchers in the country in Kat Sandercock. And, of course, last inning nearly got that opportunity with Hunter Levesque getting to third off the error. But still plenty of softball left to be played, not only tonight, but, of course, this weekend as well. So 3-1 count here for Elizabeth Mason. Went down looking in her first at-bat today. And that one is in the dirt for ball 4.
Yeah, and Brittany Knight has been pitching fantastic. But a problem when you do get behind, right? It gets to a point then when the hitters start to expect those off-speed pitches in those hitters' counts. They no longer sit fastball once they've seen it a time or two. And those pitches traditionally have a lower strike percentage. So if you're not getting the chases because they're unexpected, and let's say like that change up there that you're not able to throw in the zone, now it leads to walks and something. That's why, you know, as a coach, you don't teach get behind the count and then throw some nasty stuff. You always teach kind of get ahead. And as that's when Brittany gets in trouble, that's exactly what happens.
So here is the one Seminole with a hit off Brittany Knight today, and Sydney Sherrill, redshirt junior from Oklahoma, hit her first home run of the season in her first plate appearance this evening. And one of the most consistent players on this Florida State team. We talked about how impressive Lonnie Alameda's resume is, as Mason easily slides to steal second, but Sydney Sherrill's resume is right up there as well. And if you're talking about players that have been integral to this Florida State dominance over the last few years, Sydney Sherrill has been just that, as you see a replay there of the steal from Mason.
Yeah, you see Mason take the bag, but Sydney Sherrill absolutely is one of those culture builders for this Florida State program. You see, you know, she came into this week with 0 home runs, but clearly has power, as you saw there in the first. She's the type of player that can lead a team, that can absolutely put the team on her back for several weeks once she gets hot. And that's something that Coach Alameda talked about is Sydney Sherrill's really the person that we need to get the power back for us to get where we need to go.
And how about Elizabeth Mason? Smart on the base paths there. got caught in the middle. Almost looked like she was going to get caught in a rundown, but Walker Barbie ended up throwing it to second instead of third. So Mason uses that and said, all right, I'm headed to third then, and steals the base.
Yeah, you know, you're Walker Barbie, you got to be careful of something like this. So clearly she was relatively close to second, but with somebody with that type of speed that is clearly playing with you a little bit out there, maybe you want to throw that ball to the lead base to make sure worst case scenario she goes back to where she started. It looked like Barbie got a little bit aggressive, tried to back pick, and it just wasn't there.
And so for Mason, the 16th stolen base of the season, which now leads this Florida State team. Came into this evening with 14 and, of course, picked up 2 right there, making it runners on first and third for the Noles. 2 walks to start the inning for Brittany Knight.
Yeah, we talked about that short leash. Abby Edwards already down in the pen, already throwing. As we see a single to center field.
That's right, routine base hit up the middle for Kaylee Harding will score Elizabeth Mason and give Florida State a 2-0 lead.
Already makes up a little bit for that drop fly ball out there with the first pitch line drive single to center. Looks like she got it a little bit, yeah, I see there off the end of the bat, but was strong enough to punch it through to give the Seminoles a 2-0 lead.
And just a few feet over that outstretched glove of Lolo Sanchez. Matt, you mentioned the short leash for Brittany Knight. And now Florida State with a 2-0 lead here in the top of the third. Jody Hermanic having a conversation with her team in the circle. And as you said as well, Abby Edwards in the bullpen.
Yeah, Coach Hermanic's talking about piecing together these games, right? You know, she hasn't had a dominant arm in the same way Florida State has, where she can just sit back and watch. You know, both Brittany Knight and Abby Edwards have been that at times. So she's looking to give each of them an opportunity to be that in games that they can win.
Joining Abby Edwards in the bullpen there is Mackenzie Stiles. Of course, another challenge for these coaches when looking at this weekend. Have to, of course, remember that there are still 3 games left in this series.
Yeah, sometimes coaches, especially in 4-game series, softball series, they want to save arms for other games so that the other team hasn't seen them, so that there's somebody new, somebody fresh. But I think when the playoffs are at stake, when conference tournament championships are at stake, you got to get the arm out there that can win it.
And Harding, with no hesitation, goes for second. She's in there, and that allows Sherrill to score. So Florida State extends the lead now to 3-0 on the double steal.
An unfortunate play there for the Panthers. Barbie comes up throwing and had Harding out at second base, but on the slide, yep, looks like ball pops right out of her glove, and then it allows that run to come in, Sherrill to come in and score. An unfortunate break for the Pitt Panthers.
Yeah, Panthers, as you said, nearly had the out there at second, but instead allows the Florida State run to score. Kaylee Harding with her 9th stolen base of the year.
And if you're a Florida State fan, right, this type of offense this year might look a little bit differently. You know, we talked to Coach Alameda. She said, hey, Florida State offenses are known for extra base hits, home runs, having some power. This year, very much a small ball type team, very much a short game type team, and we're seeing it here early in the 3rd inning.
And so brings up Cassidy Davis, walked in the 1st inning. Short grounder back to Knight. Knight will opt to go to 3rd, and out at 3rd is Kaylee Harding. And so Brittany Knight with the risky play there to throw over to 3rd instead of getting the force out at 1st, but it pays off.
Yeah, but that's just bad base running by the freshman Harding. She has to know that if the ball's going to get to the pitcher, she has to hang tight. The pitcher's the only person that can make the play on her, maybe besides the 3rd baseman on that play, and she took off a little too early. If she just waits, let's say, for Knight to throw the ball to first base, she has a much better opportunity. Still not the greatest of plays, but that's tough base running for the freshman. She'll learn, she'll know better as her career unfolds.
Super close call there at 3rd, too. Very tight play, but the Panthers get the out. And it brings up Kirsten Landers. 0 for 1 today. That one's outside and fouled off. Landers was injured in the series against NC State, and Lonnie Alameda was not sure if she'd get back for this weekend, but certainly a key contributor for Florida State in that 5-hole, and Coach is happy to have her back.
Yeah, she talked about that. She said, hey, we get Landers back. It's an absolutely huge gain for us. It's a power left-handed bat. It's going to bat in the middle of our lineup. And obviously she's in the lineup today for Florida State. So Florida State gets a player back, and Pitt loses one in E.C. Taylor.
And Lonnie Alameda looks like she's going to bring in a pinch runner here. And Cassidy Davis will step back into the dugout, and stepping in is Dion Riggs for the Seminoles, freshman from Florida.
Yeah, and Walker Barbie's got to be ready, right? So you're getting a pinch runner with 2 strikes and 2 outs. There's one thought on Coach Alameda's mind, and that's getting another runner in scoring position they just lost with the base running error.
Yeah, ball in the dirt there, and she's going, and it hits off the glove of Batesole. She's all the way over to third. And Matt, I'll be honest with you, 2 strikes, 2 outs. I wasn't 100% sure about the decision there to put in Dion Riggs, but that's why I'm not a softball coach. Riggs is all the way over to third.
Yeah, hey, that's why we don't have, Women's College World Series championship ring, right? I mean, absolutely great play, getting the runner now to third base with 2 outs, but again, another missed ball at shortstop. That was another runner that Barbie had out. Ball beat her. Just couldn't squeeze it.
So pitch outside there makes it 2-2. And just like that, Panthers go from 2 outs and a runner just on first to a possible chance here for Kirsten Landers to drive in that run. And Landers goes down swinging there. So Florida State leaves one on third base, but they score 2 to take a 3-0 lead. (3-0) Florida State as we head to the bottom of the third, and it started with a solo shot from Sydney Sherrill, her first of the year, and came in the top of the first inning. So a quick start for the Seminoles, and then last inning in the third, Florida State on just 1 hit, able to add 2 more runs.
Yeah, the story of last inning has to be the defense, right? A couple of runners that were caught stealing, ball beats them, but unable to hold on to it was the shortstop Batesole, but Sherrill gets that 0 out of that home run column. I bet that's been bugging her for quite some time. I think I saw it in that hug. Might have been a little, finally,
Little
after the career she's had. Absolutely.
And Sydney Sherrill, plenty of home runs in her Florida State career. Just was struggling to get that first one this season. 2018, she had 12. 2019 had 16. Had 4 in the shortened season last year. And now finally getting that first home run in the final series of the regular season for the Seminoles.
Yeah, I mean, I think that can be attributed to a couple things. I think, as you've had a career like that, it's very easy to press and try and do too much. I think it's very easy to, let's say, make a couple of mechanical adjustments, then all of a sudden some balls that used to leave the yard turn into very hard-hit singles. She's still having a very good year offensively. It's just that number isn't matching up to what it's been in previous years. So it could be a number of things, but what better time to get back in the home run column than right into tournament play, regional, super regional, hopefully College World Series play if you're a Seminole fan.
And Florida State certainly expecting to be in contention for another national title. And now 1-2 to Morgan Batesole to start the bottom of the third.
Yeah, Batesole making her work a little bit here as Sandercock has just blown through this lineup in the first 2 innings. Very small amount of pitches, somewhere in the 20s coming into the inning.
Gets Batesole swinging on the high pitch there, and as you said, Matt, just 25 pitches right now for Kat Sandercock.
And for the second straight hitter, it looks like she goes to a little bit of a rise ball to get the strikeout. Again, it's something that she's worked with Coach Alamina with, trying to perfect that and turn that into a true swing and miss pitch, as opposed to a contact pitch maybe when she's behind in the count.
So brings up Hannah Bache. 9-hitter in the Panther lineup. Again, started in right field this evening. Bache with a .250 average on the season. How about this moment here for Hannah Bache? Again, not a usual starter for the Panthers, but gets thrust into the lineup and has to take on one of the top pitchers in the country in Kat Sandercock.
Yeah, welcome to the lineup, right? You're going to face a top 10 team in the country, and you're going to face one of the best pitchers in the country. But I think Bache is up to the task, though.
Making her work here early. 2-1 count to Bache. And a Bache local player, went to Yock High School. And strike 2 there. Panthers still looking for their first hit of the evening. So 2-2 pitch coming for Bache. Chandler Walter in the on-deck circle, and Bache goes down swinging. Sandercock has her third strikeout of the day.
Yeah, and just a really good job of pitching there. She goes rise early in the count, rise again, up and away, and ties her up with 2 strikes with the curveball in. Just a really, really, really good sequence.
And not just the third strikeout of the day for Sandercock, but 3 consecutive strikeouts over the course of the last 3 batters, all of them swinging. But Walter breaks the streak there with a ground out and an easy throw over to first, as Sandercock has got it all going. Florida State still up. So we take a look at the Florida State all-time home run leaders, and 4 names that are on the current roster make the top 10. As you see, Sydney Sherrill, after her solo shot in the first, moves just 1 behind that 6th spot all-time. But, Matt, if you want to know about their dominance offensively, just take a look at this. 4 players on this list.
Yeah, absolutely. And then, 4 batters that all have hit in the middle lineup for Florida State over the last few years. And if you look at that list there, you see some big names in college softball, and quite an accomplishment to be mentioned with some of those names.
And again, goes back to what Sydney Sherrill has done throughout her career. Again, no shortage of home runs throughout her time as a Seminole, but this season just waiting for that first one. Finally got it tonight, and as you said, Matt, couldn't have come at a better time. Heading into the ACC tournament this week, of course, Florida State will be in the NCAA tournament as well after that. And Sydney Sherrill finally gets that first homer of the year. Anna Shelnut on that list as well, and she's at the plate for Florida State now.
Yeah, and going back to Sherrill, I mean, really pretty left-handed swing. As you saw in the first inning, ball just jumps off of her bat. Not surprised that she's had the career she's had offensively in terms of power. I'm going to be really interested to see what happens going forward, not only the rest of this weekend, but as you said, into the tournament play, to see where that number gets up to. I always say, you kind of are what your averages say, and over the course of a season, if you're a 300 hitter, you're going to hit 300. If you're a 10 home run girl, you're going to hit 10 home runs, and I wouldn't be surprised if she gets close to that number.
And a hard hit liner there for a base hit from Anna Shelnut. So Shelnut will reach first, and that was her first hit in a couple of weeks. Again, did not have a hit last weekend against NC State in 12 at-bats, but finally ends the drought, and the Seminoles have their 3rd hit of the evening. It brings up Devin Flaherty. Flaherty struck out swinging back in the 2nd. Redshirt freshman from Sarasota, Florida, with 4 homers on the year. And Coach Alameda was proud of her at-bats last weekend against NC State. She was 4 for 10 in that series with a double and 3 runs, and that time over the glove of Batesole. And back-to-back base hits to left field for Florida State.
Yeah, really good swing there. Takes the pitch down and away and goes with it to another line drive out to left field. Florida State is in business here with nobody out in the 4th inning. Some more action going again in the Panthers bullpen. Just missed it.
There's Batesole there at short, as you said, Matt. Nearly able to get her glove on that one.
I think she needed the 12-inch glove, Jason.
Just another inch or 2.
Yeah.
Might have had that one. Eight hitter in the lineup for Florida State is Josie Muffley. Looking to continue this hitting streak here in the 4th, but a soft grounder, and that one is overthrown to Siemens at first, and that will allow Shelnut to score. And Florida State will have runners on the corners after the 3rd Panther error of the ball game.
Yeah, miscue there by Bates. So I think that she's sat back a little bit too much on this ground ball. You see there, she puts on the brakes so she doesn't hit the runner and sits back a little bit, which caused her to try to overthrow it to first base. Just a little bit out of the reach there for Compson at first.
And scores the run in Shelnut to make it 4-0 here in the top of the 4th. And Matt, one thing that Jody Hermanic talked to us about is their success over the course of the last 8 games has been driven by what she calls grade A performances. They have really played clean softball throughout the last 8 games. But when you're taking on the 9th-ranked team in the country, you can't afford to have 3 errors in the first 4 innings.
Yeah, and grade A performance is not being anything that you're not. It's not being, a superstar player when you're a role player. It's not. It's playing at the best that you can possibly play and staying within yourself. And one of those things is making the routine plays, right? A couple of stolen bases that would have been taken off the board there, and a ground ball that, taken a run off the board if the play was made.
And now a potential rundown there, but Matt, once again, a missed opportunity for the Panthers as Batesel was trying to keep an eye on Muffley while also considering Flaherty over at third. And it's been the common theme for Florida State. They play small ball and they are aggressive on the base paths. And all day they've been causing confusion for the Panthers defensively.
Yeah, and if you're Florida State, right, at this point, you've seen a few mistakes by the Panthers. You want to create more opportunities for them to make those mistakes. And that's exactly what Coach Alamina was doing there. That was a steal and stop. She stole and stopped halfway. Barbie makes a throw to second. And then the decision gets made by the shortstop whether we run it back to first base or we throw the ball to third. Fortunately, worst case scenario if you're the Panthers, if you want the same situation you just had, right? No mistake was made, but to your point, it was an opportunity to get an out.
Choppy grounder back tonight. She'll opt to go home. Here we go. Another possible rundown. No way the Panthers could mess that one up as Barbie easily tags Flaherty. And Flaherty had nowhere to go. Of course, Muffley coming all the way over to third base. But also have to take a look at who made it to second. Danny Morgan, the batter on the play, made it to second base there.
Yep, and that's what really good teams do, right? So, caught in a little bit of a base running error again, not, running when the ball's back to the pitcher, but her teammate is able to get her back and get to second base, so there's still 2 runners in scoring position with just 1 away. So again, if you're Pitt, yes, you got the lead runner, no runners scored, but if you're Florida State, great base running, getting you still in a scoring position with the middle of your lineup. I'm sorry, the top of your lineup coming up.
And Elizabeth Mason is at the top of the order for Florida State. A strikeout and a walk today for her, but now 2 in scoring position for the Seminoles, who have a 4-0 lead. And that has to be frustrating. Of course, we talked a little bit about early on, Brittany Knight was really successful in the circle and still only allowed 4 hits, but hate to see 3 errors on the board, 4 hits and 4 runs allowed. And now a liner there to Sanchez and starting to work her way out of this.
Yeah, and there really hasn't been that much hard contact against her. Obviously, the ball leaving the yard was hit hard. A couple of singles to start this inning were hit pretty good. But it's been more of the confusion and more of the offensive aggressiveness from Florida State that has put the pressure on Pitt's defense that has caused it to be 4 runs instead of maybe 1 or 2, which is what they've really earned with their bats. They've earned the other runs with their legs and playing the small ball offensively. But that's what you have to do, Jason. If you're not going to be the offense that's going to hit the extra base hits, that's going to drive the ball out of the yard, you have to be really good at other ways of creating offense. And one of those ways is certainly on the base pass, creating pressure. And, those errors weren't unforced errors. All 3 errors by Pitt were forced on the aggressiveness of Florida State. The hard run to first base, the couple of stolen bases that would have been, they were certainly forced errors by Florida State.
Cheryl swings at the low pitch there. 2-1 count, 2 outs. Runners on second and third here in the top of the 4th.
And this is a big AB. I mean, you have Cheryl up. She's already left the yard today. You have 2 runners in scoring position. You got 2 strikes now. If you're able to get out of this inning, although you're down 4-0, you have a little bit of momentum on your side. If you allow Cheryl to cash in and get a couple of RBIs here, all of a sudden Florida State's maybe running away with this one, and we still have a few innings to go.
2-2 pitch to Cheryl, inside for ball 3. Cheryl today, 2 trips to the batter's box and 2 runs. A big pitch coming up here. Full count, 2 outs. Muffley on third, Morgan on second. Here's the 3-2 pitch from Knight. Inside, Sherrill will walk for the second time today.
Yeah, not the worst thing, right? You had the base open. You can be nibble on those corners a little bit more than maybe you would have. But now that puts your back against the wall. Brittany Knight needs to come out and get ahead in the count and throw some quality pitches here against the 3-hole hitter Harding. Harding's gone up the middle a few times. One out being made by the second baseman, one being a single to center field.
Big opportunity here for the freshman Kaylee Harding. And soft liner over to Siemens at first. So Knight works her way out of it. Seminoles leave 3 on, but they've got a 4-0 advantage. The second game of a 4-game weekend series, the final games of the regular season between number 21 Duke and NC State at Dow Stadium in Raleigh. Coverage of the first game of the doubleheader beginning at 4:30 Eastern on the ACC Network and the ESPN app. You can watch ACC softball all season long right here on the ACC Network and live on the ESPN app. Back here at Vartabedian Field, and Matt, we talk about Duke, we talk about this conference, Florida State and Clemson solidly at the top, but Duke is a team that could be sneaky. And earlier in the year, you and I talked to Shannon Depp-King, head coach of Syracuse, and she had just played Duke at the time and said Duke is a team that could be an under-the-radar sleeper in this conference and is a team that really does just about everything well.
Yeah, and in college softball, when you have an ace on the mound, you're able to beat anybody. You can keep your team in the ball game. And in the ACC, you see that at Duke, you see it at Virginia Tech, you see it at Florida State with the 3 aces that they have, and then obviously at Clemson. So there's 4 schools that can really vie for that ACC title.
And how about that? A deep shot to left field from Kayla Lane. And the Panthers are on the board thanks to the solo shot from Kayla Lane.
And sometimes all it takes is one swing and the rest of your lineup can see, you know what, we can do it too. Kayla Lane takes the pitch down and in, drives it over the fence. Just an absolutely fantastic swing from the right-handed hitter.
No question about that one. Deep over the wall in left field, and potentially a chance to provide some momentum here for the Panthers in the bottom of the 4th.
And Kayla Lane is one of those players that Coach Hermannick talks about as a true culture builder for the program. She's changed positions. She's played third. She's played short. She has moved in the lineup. She has been what Coach Hermannick needs her to be, and couldn't say enough great things about her. I bet that feels really good for that Pitt Panther dugout.
That's right. Jody Hermanic has been super impressed with Kayla Lane. Was recruited as a middle infielder. 6th home run of the season for Kayla Lane, who's now playing third base for the Panthers. And also started the year at the bottom of the lineup and now all the way up to the 2-hole, doing a tremendous job for Pitt and providing a spark here in their first hit of the ball game off Kat Sandercock.
Yeah, and sometimes this new Pitt softball stadium with the shorter fence at 200 all the way around, and the wind that blows out a good amount, gets a little bit of a hard time because of the offense that it provides. But both home runs today, especially that home run there from Lane, would have gone out of any park in the ACC.
And we've got back-to-back hits here for the Panthers as Cammie Compson drops that one in just left of that first base line in right field, and she's all the way to second with the double.
Yeah, and don't look now. All of a sudden, Pitt Panthers starting to come around. Right, that ball looks like would have brought up some chalk if it wasn't down there with the turf outfield. Gets into second base easily for the stand-up double.
And the umpires look like they're having a conversation about that one again, trying to figure out where exactly it landed. But Cammie Compson with a big-time hit there to keep the rally going here for Pitt, and nobody out in the bottom of the 4th.
Yeah, and a little bit of conversation here between the umpiring crew and that Florida State dugout, but nobody had a better look than that first base umpire. I think that ball probably landed about 7 feet past him, so I think he saw it best.
So a homer from Lane, a double from Compson, and it brings up Sarah Siemens, who has also had a fantastic year for Pitt. Her and Compson have really been a solid 1-2 punch in the heart of the lineup all year long for the Panthers. Now a big opportunity here. Compson took a generous lead at second, but dives her way back. Home runs, as you see there on the year for Siemens. That's a team high. Pitch inside there, but called for strike 2.
Yeah, and Coach Hermanic tells a funny story about Sarah Siemens and just how humble she is, not knowing how good she is. You see there her improvement month to month. He said, hey, Sarah, tell me some of the top hitters in the ACC. And Sarah, she listed some of the top hitters and said, you know what, that's what other programs think about you.
And deep left field there for Siemens. But back to make the catch there, Florida State, like Dion Riggs in left field. But Matt, it was a great story, and Jody Hermanic, trying to stir some confidence within Sarah Siemens, saying, hey, those players that you just listed, when these other teams scout, they're focusing on you. And Sarah Siemens, of course, taking that to heart, has had a tremendous year.
And I think as a player that's relatively easy to do. I think that when you're when you're a hard worker and you put your nose down and you do the things that you need to do, like Sarah Siemens does, when all of that starts to pay off and the numbers start to reflect the hard work that you've put in, sometimes the last person to notice it is you. Sometimes everybody else can see it, and you just need to be proving it from your coaching staff. And I can tell you, she absolutely is batting in the heart of this Panther lineup for a reason. And when other teams game plan against Pitt, she's got to be one of the first names mentioned.
So first pitch inside there to Levesque, but called for strike number 1. You see 2 flyouts, 5 groundouts, and 3 strikeouts for Sandercock, who was no-hitting the Panthers up until this inning, and now a home run from Lane and the double from Compson, breaking that 3-inning no-hitter from Sandercock. But now Levesque up as well in the 5-hole for the Panthers, someone who has been swinging it well lately on a 5-game hit streak entering tonight.
Yeah, and she wants to keep that going here as a senior, and her last weekend playing here in Pittsburgh on Verbatim Field. You know she wants to keep that streak going.
So 4-1 Florida State here in the bottom of the fourth. And a 1-2 count with one out to Hunter Levesque. Cammie Compson is on second. 1-2 pitch, fouled behind. Levesque reaching third base on an error earlier in the game. Of course, had a deep fly ball to right field. Kaylee Harding might have lost it in the sun, and Levesque made her way all the way around to third. Now an opportunity with Compson on second and one out for Levesque. Grounder back to Sandercock. Will take the shore out at first.
Yeah, off-speed pitch takes Sandercock a little bit to first base on the ground ball, allows the runner to move up. So now runner on third base here with two outs. If you remember a couple innings ago, the ground ball took Brittany Knight towards third base, and they were able to get the out at third. So a little bit different in the base running and how this Panthers now for Florida State.
Barbie with a drive to left field. It's gone. Walker Barbie with her fifth home run of the season, and that makes it a one-run ball game.
And Walker Barbie with the exclamation point here in the the fourth. Ball absolutely mashed to left field into the batting cage. A big home run, bringing the Panthers within one.
Second home run of the inning for Pittsburgh, and they are not going away. Getting the bats going against one of the top pitchers in the ACC in Kat Sandercock, and look at the elation from the Panther fans at Vartabedian Field as suddenly we have a one-run ball game.
Absolutely, and don't look now, the bullpen's going for Florida State. Short leash for them as well. They know, as much as we've talked about this game being so important for Pitt, it's if you talk to the Florida State coaching staff, it's just as important to them.
So the Panthers rallying here in the bottom of the fourth. And again, even more impressive that they're doing so against one of the top pitchers in the country here in Kat Sandercock. And Sandercock went 21 straight innings in a stretch from March 26th to April 11th without allowing a single run. And here in game one of this series, Panthers giving her some trouble here in the fourth. So Lolo Sanchez will look to continue the Panthers' hot bats here. And a liner well hit to right, and it's bobbled in right field by Harding. Sanchez to second. She's going for third. Lolo Sanchez with a stand-up triple. And the Panthers with their fourth hit of the inning.
Absolutely. Sanchez takes the inside pitch, turns on it. Ball is hit really hard out to right. Again, might have been lost in the sun as it goes down here in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Another ball misplayed defensively in this ball game. And all of a sudden, the Panthers got the tying run on third base here with two outs.
And it will go down as an error by the right fielder, Harding. But Sanchez is into third base as the Panther dugout cheers are on. Pittsburgh really coming alive here in the fourth as the Seminoles head over to Kaylee Harding.
She's trying to wake up that glove out there. Shaking it around. I think that was another instance of either the sun getting in her eyes or maybe just taking her mind off it, or eye off it a little bit. Because that's a play she's got to make 10 times out of 10.
And Matt, we talked about Kaylee Harding earlier, and Coach Lonnie Alameda mentioned that she has moved around a good bit throughout the season between catching, playing at short, playing in the outfield, but Alameda was proud of the way she's adjusted throughout all those positions. Didn't mention her really having any issues in the field, whether it was in the outfield or at short, catching, but second time today, Harding has struggled.
Well, here's a cool thing, right? For a young player, a couple of errors today. This is something that when everything goes right for you, it's very hard to make adjustments, very hard to get better. It's very hard to continue to grow as a player. It's days like this defensively that, let's say she's going through the motions in off-season training, getting ready for next year. You can remember this and say, okay, this is why we're doing all of that. So there's always a positive, and in the position that Florida State's in, already in the ACC tournament, likely going to host a regional and a super if they get there. This isn't life or death necessarily for them. So this is a good learning opportunity. It's also a good learning opportunity for Sandercock on the mound of showing that she has her teammates' backs, that they can make mistakes and she can still go out there and throw quality pitches.
So it's a pinch hitter here for the Panthers, Bailey Drapola. 2-2 count and 2 outs in the bottom of the fourth. What has been a power-filled inning for the Pitt Panthers as they have worked their way back in this contest. Opposite field there from Drapola, and that'll stay fair and score the run. Bailey Drapola with the pinch hit RBI single.
Wow, and Coach Hermanic pressing the right buttons, getting the pinch hitter in there, and delivers the 2-out RBI. An absolutely fantastic swing, keeping it fair, ties this ball game up.
And what a rally here in the bottom of the fourth from Pitt. And this game has been flipped upside down. Florida State was up 4-0 with the bases loaded in the top of the fourth. Panthers got out of that, keeping it at a 4-0 score, and they matched that 4 runs here in the bottom of the fourth. The Panthers with an offensive explosion here to make this a tie game.
Yeah, and if you go back to those innings defensively, I said that this was a big out, and maybe some out there questioned that and said, hey, how could this be a big out? Florida State's up 4-0. Their pitcher's throwing a no-hitter, but it's a big out because if those 2 runs had cashed in and scored, all of a sudden maybe this isn't happening, or their Pitt is still down even if this did happen. That's why those outs are huge.
So Sandercock, who has been all but invincible this season, will end her day 4-4 game. Back at Vardabedian Field following 4 runs in the bottom of the fourth for the Panthers. So Danielle Watson will now take the circle, trying to get Florida State finally out of this inning. And she'll enter with 2 outs and Bailey Drapola on first base. But Watson looking to end what has been just a miserable inning for Florida State.
Absolutely, and Florida State goes to the hard thrower in Watson. You're going to see a fastball, velocity in between 68 and 71 miles an hour. Really working on getting a little bit of action to the ball, a little bit of sink.
So strike 1 there to Hannah Bache. Danielle Watson through Friday and Saturday last weekend against NC State for the Noles.
And here's what I'll tell you too. Watson's come in the game, something to watch for at home. right? She's come in, she's done a couple of rise balls here at Vertibadian Field with the 200-foot fence. The rise ball is very susceptible to leave the yard if it's not in the right spot. We've seen it already a couple of times today. It's something Florida State has to keep in mind as they're calling these pitches.
So Bates continuing to stay alive there, fouls that one off. Oh, 0-2 pitch. Gets Bates swinging for strike 3. But a huge inning for the Panthers. We've got a 4-4 game. Not going to want to go anywhere. Kayla Lane with the homer. And Walker Barbie. Couple of Panther bombs in the bottom of the 4th. So Brittany Knight is going to end up outlasting Catherine Sandercock today as we take a look at our starting pitchers in this one. As Sandercock was flawless through the first 3 innings of this game, but the Panthers with 4 hits and 4 runs ending Sandercock's day there in the bottom of the 4th. And Brittany Knight will stay on the mound here entering the top of the 5th as we continue on here from Vertibadian Field. And Matt, you talked to me during the break and said we've got a new ball game, a 3-inning game the rest of the way because we've got a tie score entering the 5th.
Yeah, if you grabbed Coach Hermanic for the game and you said, hey, 0-0 ball game, you got to win 3 innings to win game 1, do you take it? I think she says absolutely.
No doubt about it. And again, that's what she stressed to us when we talked to her. She said game 1 is the one we want. That's what her focus is on. Securing that game 1 victory would obviously put the Panthers in a great position to hold on to that number 10 seed and reach the ACC tournament for the first time since 2018.
Yeah, and this is what we call a shutdown inning for Brittany Knight, right? Your team just put up 4 runs. All the momentum's on your side. You got the ace of the Florida State pitching staff out of the circle. Now you have to put up the 0. If you don't put up the 0 in this inning, then you allow Florida State to kind of creep that door back open to maybe take it in these last 3. She puts up a 0 here. Momentum all stays in that Pitt Panther dugout, and they got a real chance to win the ball game down the stretch.
And hey, the Panthers have the top of the lineup coming up in the 5th inning. So this is huge for Pitt. As you said, if they can hold Florida State here, huge opportunity coming up when the Panthers come to bat. It's Dion Riggs at the plate for Florida State with a full count. She came in to pinch run for Cassidy Davis. 3-2 pitch from Knight. Grounded right back to her. Routine play over to first for Siemens. Panthers are 1 out into this fifth inning. And that really an incredible turnaround in that last inning. Saw a lot of offense from the Panthers, of course, in the fourth. But again, you go back to what Florida State had done in the top half of that inning. They were able to score a run, and they put bases loaded on. Panthers got out of that jam, but this was potentially one swing away from being a 7-0 ball game heading into the bottom of the fourth inning.
Yeah, absolutely huge out there by Brittany Knight. And the way that Sandercock was throwing and the way that Florida State was defensively, one run felt like 10. Right? And so you get that out, you get your team in the dugout, and then your offense provides you the support with the 4 runs. And it's crazy how this game emotion swings from dugout to dugout when there's those shutdown innings, when you get those big outs. So she's doing a fantastic job of keeping her team in the ball game. Although defensively, she wasn't getting a lot of the support. She's taking on a lot of that herself now.
And Sandercock has not allowed more than 3 runs since February 13th in just the second appearance of the season for her. Now, Matt, as you mentioned, of course, have to consider that many of those were unearned runs by the Panthers, but still not familiar territory here for Sandercock to have her day cut short after 4 innings after allowing 4 runs.
Yeah, I don't think right now, if you look at her here, she's really thinking about her own earned run average. I think she's thinking that although maybe the runner shouldn't have been on, although the inning maybe shouldn't have continued, she still should have made more quality pitches to keep the ball in the ballpark.
And how about that? Speaks to her excellence throughout the year. 2 home runs tonight. Most of the season allowed by Kat Sandercock. And also goes to show how special that offensive display was in the bottom of the fourth for Pitt. So Landers will walk with 1 out here in the top of the 5th. Brittany Knight continues to work in the circle for the Panthers. And as you see, they're approaching 100 pitches. And Jody Hermanic will take some time to have a meeting with her infield in the circle.
Yeah, and although the stats don't say it, everybody knows Shelnutt's capability to leave the yard and to show some power, right? We showed the graphic a few innings ago. She's on the top list of most home runs in Florida State history. So this is a good time for Coach Herman to come out, give her senior a little bit of a deep breath, talk a little bit about the plan to get this hitter out and go from there. This is a really good meeting.
You see the out distribution for Brittany Knight. 4 flyouts, 6 groundouts, and 3 strikeouts for her. And both pitchers today at times have fell victim to some defensive errors from the rest of the team. But we are knotted up at 4 nonetheless, and Brittany Knight continuing to work here in the top of the 5th. And as you said, facing Anna Shelnut. And a huge moment for Shelnut, trying to get some offense going for the Noles with 1 out here in the 5th. Shelnut entering tonight just had 2 hits in her last 9 games, was 2 for 28 in that span, but did get a single back in the 4th, but now just an easy grounder back tonight. Sanchez tries to turn 2, but Shelnut able to make her way to first and is safe there.
Yeah, and we've been told how good defensively Brittany Knight is in the circle, and we're really seeing a lot of comebackers. This one here shows great footwork, opening up to her glove side, delivering a good double play ball to Sanchez. Unfortunately, the speed of Shelnut gets there. But everything that she could have done, she did.
Well done by the Panther defense as well. Not easy, of course, to turn a double play on a ground ball to the pitcher. But Sanchez with the quick turn nearly had her over at first.
Yep, and then 2 outs now, right? So back to the point we made a few batters ago. Now Brittany Knight has to get her team off the field. Now's the time when no 2-out damage needs to be done, again, to keep that momentum in the Panther dugout.
And got the strike on the off-speed pitch there. Makes it a 1-1 count for Devin Flaherty. One pitch here. High and inside for ball 2.
Yeah, against a hitter like Flaherty, who's shown that she had hit a line drive on a hard pitch to left field, you want to either go soft away or hard in. If you're soft away, it's going to get her a little bit out front and not allow her to extend his hands the same way she would, let's say, with a harder pitch away. Or you want to come hard in and force her to turn on the pitch. You see, she's pretty far off the plate. She'd like to extend those arms a little bit. Typically, where a hitter stands, they're telling you a story of what they want and maybe not want.
That one low and outside for ball 3. The on-deck circle for Florida State is Josie Muffley, who's 0 for 2 today. And Flaherty will take the walk and reach first. So Muffley comes up in the 8-hole for Florida State.
Shortstop, Josie Muffley.
Runners on first and second here, but 2 outs for Brittany Knight and the Panthers. And for Knight, 6 walks on the day. But again, keeping Pitt in this game. And continuing to work here in the top of the 5th, looking to get out of the inning. We talked about how the Panthers have the top of the order coming up in the bottom of the 5th. And a 1-0 count to start for Muffley. One-0 pitch here. And choppy grounder in foul territory. Muffley was 1 for 8 in the series against NC State last weekend, but has started every game this year for the Seminoles. See there, 300 batting average with runners in scoring position, and she's got Shellnut on second. 1-1 pitch, 2 outs, that's low and in. Gets Muffley chasing on the outside there. So Brittany Knight works it back to 2-2. With 2 outs, 1 pitch away from getting out of the inning here in the top of the 5th.
I think if you're Brittany Knight, no matter who's in the batter's box, this count, 2-2, 2 outs, runners score position, you throw your best pitch.
That one's high and away, trying to get her to chase once again.
And I think you got to come back to it here, 3-2. No matter whatever you thought your best pitch was, whatever was called there, I think you come back to it, 3-2.
Big pitch coming, 3-2, 2 out. Here's the pitch from Knight to Muffley, got her looking.
Brittany Knight comes inside after working away, and gets the huge strikeout as the Panthers' top of the order comes up here in the 5th inning.
Welcome back to Vardabedian Field, where we've got a 4-4 ball game as we head to the bottom of the 5th. And new to the circle, starting in the last inning for the Seminoles, is Danielle Watson, as we take a look at Jody Hermanic trying to reach her first ACC tournament as the Panthers head coach. And Matt, one thing she told us is when she came to Pitt back in 2019, did not make it her first season here. That immediately became her goal for this team and for her as the head coach of the Panthers to reach the ACC tournament, the next opportunity they got. And of course, last season with the shortened year due to COVID-19, didn't get the chance to do that, but have put themselves in a great spot right here this season as the number 10 team right now, and right now tied with Florida State 4-4 heading to the bottom of the 5th.
Yeah, you see there the ground ball is shortstop, but we talked about expectations with Florida State a few innings back, and the expectation is to be great, to win the ACC, to go to a super. What Coach Hermanic is trying to do with this Pitt Panthers softball team is to change the expectation to making sure that every year they're at the ACC tournament. And for a program like Pitt, that is certainly not outside the realm of possibility. And what she's excited about this year, she said it multiple times, is this year the ball is in our court. We don't have to depend on anybody else.
And a diving attempt there in right field by Harding. But let's take a look back at what Lane did in the 4th inning in her last at-bat. A deep shot to left field that served as the first hit of the day for the Panthers and ended up leading to a 4-run inning in the 4th for Pitt. Kayla Lane led off that inning with that solo shot. Now up again, hoping to find base once again and potentially get some offense moving here in the 5th for the Panthers.
Yeah, when you're facing an imposing pitcher, right? When you're facing a pitcher with really good stats, sometimes it takes a swing like Lane had last inning to prove to the rest of the team, like, hey, no, we can play with her. Right? There's nobody that's much better than we are. And, that ball, like I said, it was absolutely touched. It was not a wall scraper. It got out by quite a bit. So I'm sure the rest of the dugout saw that and said, hey, yeah, if Kayla can do that, we can all do that. And clearly that's exactly what happened.
That's right, man. You have to imagine, especially when you're facing a pitcher like Kat Sandercock, when you go 3 innings and you're unable to get a hit off her, you start to drift into that mindset, and it's tough to get out of it. It's tough to avoid, but you go 3 innings against a pitcher like that and you can't find your way to earning a hit. A home run from Lane serves as a huge way, as you mentioned, to get the team going. But this time, Watson able to strike out Lane, so 2 quick outs for Florida State here in the bottom of the 5th.
Yeah, and if you're Florida State, you say, okay, you got the cat? All right, we got another arm for you. Let's see if you can get to this one too.
Well, Jody Hermanic made it clear that this Florida State team has 3 aces. And, of course, we'll see them all this weekend. Strike 1 there to Cammie Compson. Talked a lot about Kat Sandercock. This is Danielle Watson. And obviously expect to see Kaylin Arnold this weekend for the Noles as well.
And a break here by Coach Hermanic to break the momentum a little bit. That Watson has. Watson has really, really good stuff. Possibly the best stuff on the pure stuff on the staff. She throws really hard, has really good sink to her pitches, has a really true backspin rise ball that is hard to pick up for the hitters, right? And at 62 to 64 miles an hour, it almost works as a changeup too. So it's a really interesting pitch that is not what hitters see a fair amount of time. And you talk about analytics of pitching. Sometimes it's not always the nastiest spin and break that become hard to hit. It's the pitches that are just different from ones that you traditionally see. And that's the rise ball that Watson has.
And Matt, that's what Lonnie Alameda told us, is that not many pitchers out there have that true backspin that you will see Danielle Watson use. She's a transfer from Louisville who led the team with 88 strikeouts in 2019 back with the Cardinals, and now, of course, one of Florida State's top arms here in 2021.
Yeah, very good get in the transfer portal for Florida State. And, when you're a program, it's the rich getting richer a little bit.
Gets Compson swinging on the outside there. So Danielle Watson with a hot start to her day. We've still got an even game, 2 innings to play. Tomorrow we'll have the second game of a 3-game weekend series between number 18 Florida State and number 7 Notre Dame in South Bend. We'll also have the series finale on Sunday. Coverage of Game 2 tomorrow starting at 1 Eastern right here on the ACC Network and the ESPN app. How about Notre Dame, number 7 in the country? Tremendous what Link Jarrett has done with that ball club this year. And as you see here, Matt, we have got an outstanding game in the top of the 6th.
Yeah, absolutely. This game has all of a sudden turned into a 2-inning ball game. For Pitt, you are right where you want to be. And if you're Florida State, you can't get psyched out because you expected maybe to be up big by this point. You know, this has to be used as a way of learning, because these close games are inevitably going to happen as they get to an ACC championship and possibly a Women's College World Series. So I think Coach Lonnie Almeida is going to really be watching her team to say, hey, how do you react in a tie game in the 6th? This is a really good coaching opportunity.
Well, the other interesting point I thought Lonnie Alameda made in our conversation with her was, what is missing from a team like Florida State that seems to have everything working at this point in the season? What do you need to improve on? What can you do to make a run in the NCAA tournament? And she said, hey, all these teams in the top 10, top 15, they're prepared. They're ready. They have everything it takes. It's just a matter of who has it rolling at the right time.
Yeah, and what she also brought up in that same point is that, you don't know. You think that you coach your team to be able to prepare for adversity. You think that you teach your pitchers how to pitch in tough spots. But you don't know until you get put in that situation. And this is certainly one of those situations where, you see how you taught late game scenario. You see how you taught pitching with the game on the line. But she did mention, hey, you want to peak at the right time. The Pitt Panther team is certainly peaking as of right now. And I think Florida State coming into this weekend is also getting to that peak. Both teams do have more to climb, though.
And this game is proof that anything can happen at this point in the season. And certainly the ACC tournament, NCAA tournament won't be lacking in terms of possible upsets. And like Coach Alameda said, anybody really could make a run and win the whole thing. It's just a matter of who's getting hot come mid-May. 3-0 pitch to start the inning, but home plate umpire calls time.
It looked like Brittany Knight went off balance a little bit in that delivery. She regained. Went into the pitch, but home plate umpire didn't like what he saw, and he called timeout.
Brittany Knight very persistent today. Still working here in the top of the 6th, and that will be the 7th walk of the game for the Florida State batters. So brings up Sydney Sherrill, who homered back in the 1st and then walked in the 3rd and 4th. As we take a look at her history of home run hitting, and there it is, 32 homers in her first 3 seasons as a Seminole. And so far this year went 45 games without being able to notch one, but here in the 46th finally gets one over that center field wall here at Vardabedian Field and can breathe a sigh of relief.
Yeah, absolutely. I bet that felt really good. Not only the ball was blasted quite some ways, but also when you're used to being that power bat, when you're used to seeing the ball go over the fence, it's nice to see. It's not like a three-point shooter going cold for a couple of weeks and then seeing the ball go through the basket a few times. It's amazing how it has a tendency to lead to a little bit of a hot streak.
Hard grounder to short, gets through. Lolo Sanchez dove for that one, and Florida State is going to take the lead. And all the way over to 3rd is Sydney Sherrill. The Seminoles now with a 5-4 advantage here in the top of the 6th.
And it looks like another misplay by the Panthers allows Florida State to move up a base. That ball was hit very hard, absolutely a sure double into left center. But as Levesque looked to pick up the ball, she dropped it a little bit, allowing Mason to take the extra bag. As you see right there, she drops it, and then she drops it again on the throw. Allowed Mason to move up.
Yeah, not only allows Mason to get all the way home, but allows Sydney Sherrill to get over to 3rd. And what a ball game Sydney Sherrill has had. And a huge hit there to break open this game, give Florida State the lead 5-4 in the top of the 6th.
But if you ask Coach Hermanic about that, I guarantee what she says is the one-out walk with nobody on base, right? So if that runner is not on base with a walk, that double and then possible misplay into a 3-bagger doesn't score a run. So, you know, it's one of those walks that is getting Pitt in trouble. And when you tag team that with a misplay defensively, that's when things start to snowball on you.
Harding fouls that one off. Kaylee Harding 1 for 3 so far today with a single in the 3rd that scored a run. Kaylee Harding would love some redemption at the plate here after a couple miscues out in right field. Runner on 3rd is Sydney Sherrill. Kaylee Harding would love to bring her home. Fouls that one back on the 2-1 pitch. And Matt, if this game has taught us anything, it's that this is far from over. Just a 1-run deficit. Of course, the Panthers want to get out of this inning as soon as they can. But don't forget, they were down 4-0 earlier. Came back to tie the score, and Brittany Knight's going to get Kaylee Harding there for the strikeout, her 5th of this game.
Yeah, it looks like a changeup in the dirt and catches Harding out front. I don't know. She's called out, but either way, really good pitch to get the strikeout.
And that's the ideal out for the Panthers, especially with Sherrill on 3rd base. Not allowing a ball to be put in play there and giving, of course, Sherrill the opportunity to run, but holding her at 3rd base instead. And now 2 outs. And it's Dion Riggs at the plate for the Seminoles. Pitch low and away in the dirt. 2-0 count. Deion Riggs, freshman outfielder from Fort Walton Beach, Florida. We'll take that for ball 3. And out to the circle is Walker Barbie, going to have a chat with Brittany Knight. And as you see, Brittany Knight up to 129 pitches in this ball game. Really working hard for the Panthers here in the top of the 6th.
Yeah, and what I'm sure Walker Barbie wants to talk with Brittany Knight about is, although a base is open and a walk here is not the worst thing in the world, nobody gets moved up, but you prefer to pitch here as opposed to Landers on deck. You know, you have a freshman in Riggs at the plate. She's hit the ground ball back to Brittany, her last at bat. I think this is the hitter that you want to attack as opposed to getting to the more senior Landers. There's a little bit more power in her bat.
So Knight will get the strike looking there. And there's Riggs tonight, 0 for 1 with a ground out. 304 average on the season. Off-speed pitch, good for strike 2. Knight working her way back.
Breaks off an excellent changeup. Absolutely freezes Riggs. 3-1. Now at 3-2, does she go back to it? Does she come hard and maybe get Riggs a little bit late? It's going to be interesting to see.
3-2 pitch, 2 outs. And gets her swinging. Brittany Knight with her 6th strikeout of the game.
Brittany Knight goes hard fastball in following that changeup. A really good pitch, stranding that runner at third. The Panthers up to bat.
Panthers were hitless through 3 innings tonight, but in the 4th, that all changed. A couple of home runs from Kayla Lane and Walker Barbie, and the Panthers evened this game to tie it up at 4. Kat Sandercock ended her evening and then stayed tied for an inning before, in the top of the 6th, Florida State scoring Elizabeth Mason and taking the lead back at 5-4. Bottom of the 6th now. Danielle Watson still in the circle for the Noles. And leading off for the Panthers is their cleanup hitter, Sarah Siemens.
Yeah, if you're a Florida State fan, you have to be really excited, right? You take a little bit of a punch on the chin with the 4-run inning here in the 4th, but you come back and get ahead here in the 6th.
And the Panthers will take that to start the inning, but for a moment looked like Kaylee Harding was trying to get Siemens at first. Siemens hit that ball so hard into right field that it looked like Harding had a chance to throw that to Mason and possibly gun her down at first, but nonetheless, Siemens with the first pitch swing to get on first base to start the bottom of the 6th.
Yeah, Harding attempted to go the old 9-3 putout. You don't see that very often for those of you keeping score at home. Siemens able to beat it out.
Levesque showing a bunt there on the first pitch, but will end up taking it for ball 1. And if you're Jody Hermanic, you have to be thinking here, Levesque 0 for 2 tonight. She's one of the stronger hitters on this team. Hermanic has to be thinking she's due for one here in a big moment. We'll foul that one back. 1-1 count now with Siemens on first.
I like the thought there. A little bit of short gain to put some pressure on that Florida State defense. In a 1-0 count, I think she probably takes it off here and has Levesque swing away now that the infield comes a little bit in, maybe anticipating bunt, open up some holes in the defense.
Levesque also potentially with her last chance here to extend her current hit streak to 6 games, currently sitting at 5. But 0 for 2 so far tonight, and depending on how these next couple innings go, could end up being the final at-bat of the night for Levesque. 2-1 pitch. Levesque swings at the high one.
And there's that rise that we talked about. Great location right up at the shoulders. Gets Levesque to swing through. 2-2 count. I bet she comes right back to it.
Levesque fouls it back to stay alive. Levesque has started every game of the season for the Panthers. And staying patient there and holding off on the high ball there, making it a full count.
And Levesque used to pressure moments against Florida State, as back in 2018, she had an RBI single in a 0-0 game against this Florida State team to put Pitt ahead. And Florida State ended up winning the game and the ACC championship that year.
And the national championship.
And the national championship, yeah. Quite the year for Florida State.
And again, Seminoles will be in contention for an ACC title, a national title, everything this year. But the Panthers have them on the ropes here in game 1 of this series. Got a meeting in the circle, a meeting in the dugout. Jody Hermanic going to talk to her staff. Everyone being careful. Close game here. 5-4, bottom of the 6th. Full count. This is a big pitch. Everyone wants to get it right. Here it comes from Watson. Levesque pops it up to shallow right. Harding going to make that catch. And so Siemens will stay at first. And that's the first out of the inning. Has to feel good for Kaylee Harding to secure that easy one.
Yeah, I think, if you ask her, certainly not a sigh of relief. She's like, hey, I better make that play. Or else this glove might not be coming back to Tallahassee. I'll tell you what.
Well, like you were saying earlier about Cheryl and the home run ball, sometimes it just feels good to get back on track and remind yourself, hey, I got this, right?
Oh, yeah. Sometimes we put these incredible athletes on this pedestal. They can't do anything wrong, and even as one of those athletes, you feel like you need and should make every single play. But guess what? We're all human, right? I mean, you're going to make mistakes. You're going to drop balls. You're going to strike out. It's how you come back from that, right? Not only in that game, but that season and that career that defines the people that have success and maybe the people that don't have as much.
And Lonnie Alameda talked to us a lot about trust and how much she trusts this team. You know, some coaches out there might make a change, might make a defensive adjustment after 2 drops in right field from Harding, but she's confident in this team, confident, of course, in what Harding can do. Spoke extremely highly of Kaylee Harding, just a freshman who has had a fantastic year for Florida State in her first season.
Yeah, and talking to Coach Alameda, he said, if I don't trust my ladies, then what am I doing as a coach? What am I doing as an educator if I can't trust them to do the right thing when I'm not around, or if I can't trust them to do the right thing when they're with each other? So, you know, she trusts her girls, she trusts her ladies, and, you know, they've paid her back time and time again.
So we walk there to Walker Barbie, and she will be subbed out for pinch runner Jada Crittenden, making it first and second, and we'll bring up Lolo Sanchez. Matt, you know, talking about that trust with head coach Lonnie Alameda, another thing she mentioned is that she gave the team a couple days to head to the beach and rest recently after obviously a long and grueling season. And Florida State has been fantastic this year, and said, well, hey, if you don't trust your team enough to take a couple days off, come back and return to that same form that they were in, then that might be an issue. You know, you got to have that trust with your players and what they can do, especially allowing them to have some rest.
Yeah, what people need to realize is that the college, especially the spring college seasons, it's not just the amount of games that you're playing. These ladies and men on the baseball side and lacrosse and all the other spring sports, and you're practicing as soon as you get on campus in the fall, and you're really not stopping all the way until you know, the school season is over, possibly into the start of the summer. So this is the type of time of year that she likes to give her girls some time to, as you said, go to the beach, and we trust her.
So we look at Danielle Watson, an inning and 2/3 in here. Has allowed 1 hit, came in at the bottom of the 4th to save the Seminoles from a huge offensive inning for Pitt. Has performed well with 3 strikeouts since her entrance. Sanchez fouls off a bunt attempt there. And man, again, we've seen a lot of mound visits, circle visits, dugout meetings, all kinds of stuff. These teams, especially a few days before the ACC tournament, every pitch matters.
Yeah, I think a couple things, Mike. You want to make sure you get it right, but you also want to make sure that you've seen some unforced and forced errors on this field. And as a coach or as a teammate, you want to do everything in your power to limit that.
1-1 for Sanchez, swings at the high pitch there for a 1-2 count now.
Really good rise. Lolo's got to do a job here of trying to identify that pitch and laying off it if it's going to come up above her shoulders, right? If she sees it down, she can get a good piece of it like she did last time for the extra base hit, but she has to recognize that that's how she's been beaten so far today.
1-2, same spot. Lolo swings at it again. And that will be out number 2, bringing up Bailey Drapola.
And if you remember, Drapola had a big hit her last time up on with the pinch hit. So another big at bat for her coming off the bench.
So second strikeout swinging of the day for Lolo Sanchez. But as you said, Drapola came up big in her last AB for the Panthers, hoping to do it again here with 2 runners on in the bottom of the 6th.
And Drapola there laying off that rise. She goes back to it to try to get the chase early in the count, and Watson's not able to get the swing and miss on the first pitch.
Works Drapola inside that time for ball 2. In the on-deck circle for the Panthers is Hannah Bache. Bache with 2 strikeouts today. 2-0 pitch. High for ball 3.
Drapola lays off another rise, getting to the 3-0 count. You know, she's really seeing the ball well off of Watson. Watson's got to come all the way back. The last thing she wants is the bases loaded where a walk forces in a run.
And that one right down the heart of the plate there. For strike number one, Drapola, the sophomore for the Panthers, who transferred in from Akron, actually led Akron in batting average last season, but so far this year for the Panthers, this just her 18th at-bat of the year. Of course, came up big in her last at-bat, but this time looks at 2 consecutive strikes. And Watson has worked her way back to a full count. Huge pitch coming here. 2 outs, 2 on for the Panthers. And high pop up there over to short. Should be easy for Muffley, and it is. Seminoles get their way out of the inning. They hold on to that 1-run lead. We've got 1 inning to play at Vartabedian Field. ACC Softball Championship begins Wednesday afternoon, and this year it's at Ulmer Stadium on the campus of Louisville. First round coverage starts at 1 Eastern right here on the network, the ESPN app. And what a production by our fantastic crew here tonight, and look forward to coverage the rest of the weekend and into the conference tournament as we look at the ACC softball standings. North Carolina falling to Louisville tonight. So the Cardinals take game 1 of that series, and the Panthers still battling against Florida State and hanging on to the 10 spot at least through the rest of the evening.
Yeah, if you're a Panthers fan, that's what you need to see, right? You need to see North Carolina fall tonight. But you still have an opportunity to take care of business for yourself. That allows you, if you get the win today, to be breathing a lot easier going into tomorrow's doubleheader.
And again, one of the interesting aspects of the rest of this weekend as we track the scores and track the standings is that Pitt's doubleheader, as of now, is scheduled for tomorrow. North Carolina's doubleheader against Louisville is scheduled for Sunday. So it'll be interesting to see. Always factors in when you know a certain team's results. And so the Panthers will head into Sunday likely having 3 games of their series done, while the Tar Heels will likely only be 2 games in to their series with the Cardinals. And so to start off this 7th inning, Brittany Knight will allow Landers to first base as it hits, looked like just over the top of her knee there.
Yeah, tried to come in with a bit of a curveball breaking in to Landers, and a little bit too much. As you see there at 135 pitches, maybe laboring a little bit, causing the leadoff hitter to get on base.
So it brings up Anna Shelnut. Have to keep an eye on that pitch count for Brittany Knight. Up to 136 now here in the 7th, and she's done a good job, of course, of keeping the Panthers in this thing all night long.
Yeah, and what pitch count does, it doesn't really affect velocity too much going forward. It doesn't affect, the speed of your pitches coming in. What typically you see at high pitch counts is a little bit of the sharpness in some of your off speed is not there. You're out of the zone a little bit more than you would have been when you're fresh. Those are kind of the things you want to start watching. I mean, one of those telltale signs might be a hit by pitch that we saw to Landers. So it's one of those things that Coach Hermannick is looking at and keeping an eye on during this inning.
Shelnut swinging along the outside there. Jody Hermannick telling her she
lost like another one of those cars.
That's right. They keep flying out today. Didn't think the wind was too bad here at Vartabedian Field tonight, but
it's poker. They're folding their cars, throwing them in there.
An outside pitch gets Shelnut swinging for the 3rd strike, and Brittany Knight now up to 7 strikeouts on the evening.
Yeah, great pitch. Gets Shelnut to chase outside twice to put her away. And that's one of those bounce back at bats that Coach Hermannick talks about. When something bad happens, hit by pitch, walk, something like that, hit. The next batter, if you can get that batter out, it limits that damage a little bit.
And soft grounder by Flaherty, but looked like the runner interfered with Chandler Walter's ability to field that ball. And it was about to be a routine out for Chandler Walter here as we take a look.
Yeah, and I don't know if Walter did this on purpose, but a bit of a heady play. I'm not sure if she had an opportunity to get Landers at second if she fields that ball. She's probably going in first, and there's a runner in scoring position as a result. But when she runs into Landers or Landers runs into her, whichever way you're looking at it, now that runner's no longer in scoring position. So a fortunate break there for Pitt.
So it gives them the 2nd out. Brings up Josie Muffley. Devin Flaherty on first. And that one bounced off Barbie and allows Flaherty to get to second. Devin Flaherty, 15 steals on the season entering tonight. Hasn't been caught stealing all year long. Low pitch there for ball 2 to Muffley. See there, 0 for 3 on the night. Fouls that one back for strike 2. Muffley, another one of the Seminoles that has started every game of the season. Had a really good year last year despite the shortened season. Had .333 batting average, led the team with 3 triples before the season came to an end. Now soft grounder to second. Walter throw over to Siemens. Good for the 3rd out. 5-4 lead for Florida State. Panthers with one more chance coming up. Well, to start the bottom of the 7th for the Panthers. And a 1-run deficit for Pittsburgh here, but they've got the top of the order coming up right after this, and an opportunity to a huge upset to start this series against the 9th-ranked team in the country.
Yeah, it'd be a great way to start if you're a Pitt Panther fan, if you're a Florida State fan. You know, game 1 is huge for winning that ACC regular season championship. But you see there as her walks to lead off here in the bottom of the 7th inning. The toughest 3 outs of the game to get are always the last 3, and we're seeing it here.
The Panthers will be pleased to start the inning like that, and Bree Horrell came in as a pinch hitter there for Hannah Bache, and now Hannah Bache will just re-enter and pinch run for Horrell. So Watson's done, and the Panthers still with time to come back. Well, Jody Hermanic told us that this Florida State team has 3 aces, and we're now seeing the 3rd of 3 tonight. Kaylin Arnold into the contest for Florida State to try and close this thing out. The senior from Tennessee coming in for the Seminoles with nobody out and a runner on first here, bottom 7.
Yeah, with Kaylee Arnold, we're going to see upper 60s velocity with a really heavy rise ball that has a little bit of arm side run action to it. You're going to see it up and into these right-handed hitters. One of the things that you're going to hear with these 3 aces, a lot of rise balls, a lot of drop balls. Maybe 10, 15 years ago, it would have been velocity is king. But that's not the way college softball is now.
And quick heads-up play there from Sydney Sherrill to get Walter at first, but the bunt does do its job in getting Hannah Bache over to second. So 1 out now, a runner in scoring position for the Panthers, and they've got Kayla Lane in the 2 spot at the plate. Now let me remind you, she homered back in the 4th. Of course, if she were to do that again, this ball game would be over. But of course, new to the game, Kaylin Arnold, she is fresh and ready to go, but a prime opportunity here for the Panthers.
And when we asked Coach Hermanic about Kayla Lane, she said 2 things. High quality at-bats, timely hits. What a time for her to come up for the Pitt Panthers.
Absolutely. Solo home run came in the 4th. Huge moment for the sophomore. 0-1 pitch coming, but it's going to just pop it up for an easy catch by Elizabeth Mason over at first, and the Panthers are down to their final out.
And that was that pitch with a little bit of arm side run. A really, really, really good pitch to get the 2nd out of the inning. And one thing that Florida State coaching staff talked about these 3 aces, and they all want to be the lady. They all want to be the one with the ball in their hand with the game on the line. Arnold right now has the opportunity, and she's looking to seize it.
Cami Compson with a deep drive to center field. And Pittsburgh has taken down the number 9 team in the country.
Cami Compson says, "Get off me, ball." That ball is way out of here to center. And the Panthers take it 6-5.
A magical night at Vardavedian Field, capped by a Cami Compson crusher to center.
What a ball game for Pitt. You overcome some adversity on the defensive side. You get a great game pitched by Brittany Knight, battling through adversity her whole game with multiple walks and coming back, and offensively leaving the yard on multiple occasions against, if not the toughest pitching staff in the country. If you're a Pitt Panther fan, you have to be proud of these ladies. Wow.
Jody Hermanic gave us 5 words to sum up Cami Compson's play. Go big or go home. Panthers get the victory. So, for Matt Iannazzo and our fantastic crew, I'm Jason Earl saying so long from Pittsburgh, where the final score is Pitt 6 and Florida State 5. To watch this entire game on replay, as well as other games on the ACC network, download the ESPN app. This has been a presentation of ESPN, the worldwide leader in sports.